Good afternoon, everyone. We might just wait a couple more minutes for some last minute strugglers to come through. We might just wait a couple more moments. While we wait, don't forget to put your student ID in the chat just so we can record your attendance. All right, so we might get started now. So thank you for joining us today for the last session of how to be more competitive in research with the HDR internships. So my name is Simon Kolonowski, and I'm a HDR Partnerships Officer within the Graduate Research Education Development team. I'm joined by my colleague Susan Slinker, who's also the co-HDR Partnerships Officer. So we will be the two point of contacts for this HDR internship program should you wish to undertake an internship within your candidature. Before we start, I might just ask if you can hear me all, and that's fine. There's no issues with the sound. If you can't hear me, please just click the arrow next to the microphone button and make sure the correct speaker is there. If that doesn't work, make sure you go into the advanced settings and configure it that way. I'm getting thumbs up, so that's good to see. Just so you know, this session will be recorded. So we just ask that you turn off your microphone and camera. Otherwise, what will happen is you'll be recorded as well, and you might feature in our YouTube video if this is uploaded to YouTube afterwards. Please, we encourage all questions to be asked in the chat box as we go, because my colleague Susan will be able to answer as we go, or I'll answer at the end of the session. Just a reminder, if you haven't already done so yet, just please pop your student ID in the chat box so we can record your attendance after the end of the session is concluded. I would just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet today. I know it's virtual, so some of you may be elsewhere, so I pay my respects to the traditional owners in which the land that you reside. But QUT acknowledges the Turrbal and Yagara as the First Nations owners of the land where QUT now stands. We pay respects to the elders, laws, customs, and creation spirits. We recognise that these lands have always been places of teaching, research, and learning. And QUT acknowledges the important role Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people play within the QUT community. So I guess you're asking, what will this session include today? So we're going to talk all things HDR internships, which include what that even is, why you should do an internship, what the internship experience actually entails. So when, the types of internships that can be available to you, how to get an internship, and that's a variety of ways that you can do so, and the training and support that's available through you, through the internship and pre-internship. Before we actually get into the internship space, I just wanted to explain what the Graduate Research Education Development, or GRED, offers to the student. So we offer optional learning and development opportunities for HDR students, which includes the PhD and Master of Philosophy students, to help you complete your thesis and equip you for life after your degree. Within the GRED team, my colleague Susan Slinker and I look after HDR industry engagement, which includes the HDR internships. The other services that our team provides includes the HDR career support, modules and workshops, HDR industry engagement and internship opportunities, HDR orientation, HDR writing support and workshops, professional development requirements for HDR supervision, research development and skill modules, programs and workshops for HDR students. So this brings us to an important question that some of you may be thinking: what is industry? So just so that you're aware, because we reference this a lot within our websites, To provide some clarity to you, industry refers to a catch-all term which includes, but not limited to, businesses, governments, government business enterprises, and non-government organisations, not-for-profit groups, and community organisations. So engaging with industry involves working with these groups directly through internships, mentorships, networking events, and other activities offered by GRED. So you might be thinking, I want to be an academic, or so why should industry engagement be important to me? Industry engagement is increasingly important for a successful academic career. Articulating the impact of your research to anyone is now an essential skill for all research graduates. Academics are increasingly expected to have industry engagement skills and experience with or in industry. Career academics must still be able to articulate the value of their research to the end user and general public in every funding application or to every industry partner. If you think of career like a share portfolio, would you invest in only one type of share? Probably not. The strength of your portfolio is in the diversity of it, and it can be the same with career prep as well. Why only prepare for academia? Prepare for industry and academia. So this brings me to the communication. It's really important to learn how to communicate your research to a wide range of audiences, including discipline specialists, people within your broader discipline, research end users, and general audiences. I really want to impress upon you that to be a competitive researcher, you need to be able to engage with and communicate your research beyond academia. It's no longer enough to only publish in academia journals and conferences. You need to connect your research with wider audiences and have a wide range of skills to be able to connect with industry. And that's why we have a wide range of industry engagement opportunities within GRED that can help you do this to prepare you for life post candidature. So this brings me to my point that there's no one size fits all approach. And that's why we have these varying opportunities within GRED. And Susan and I look after these. So I'd like to mention that all these events and all the opportunities that we offer within GRED are available through our industry engagement program, which requires registration via our HiQ page. If you haven't already done so, please look at the link that's in the chat from Susan and register your interest so that you can stay up to date with the opportunities that we have available. If you register for this, we'll send you the HDR internship opportunities that have come up, which might be of interest to you going forward. So with that being said, now we'll move on to the nitty-gritty stuff of what is an HDR internship, what it entails, and what it looks like for you. So the definition of a QUT HDR internship is quite broad because the projects vary significantly. The main thing is that a QUT HDR internship is a short-term, tightly focused and clearly defined project with and/or for industry. So typically speaking, an internship is 3 months in duration. However, this is flexible depending on the industry partner and the needs of that industry partner. One key feat to mention is that the internship that we offer, the industry owns the IP because it's funded by them. So it needs to be separate to the research you're doing in your thesis. There are 2 options for securing an internship, and you can apply for an advertised internship or self-source your own, and we'll talk about both of these today. Advertised internships are on HiQ and sent to students who are registered for the program. We recommend starting to prepare today with smaller industry engagement activities, which can include the networking events that we have published on our HiQ website, hackathons, competitions, and stuff like that to build your network for possible opportunities. So why an internship? HDR internships are an amazing opportunity to practice and evidence your skills in the real world, build connections, industry networks, and enhance your CV, and gain an understanding of industry. So this is intended to develop or extend industry engagement skills so that you as a HDR have industry engagement skills required for future employment in either academia or industry. It also gives you a taste of whether or not that type of work is what you want to do post-academia. It just opens your eyes to other opportunities that might be something that you haven't thought of before. So we always recommend that an internship is great for that. Academics need industry connections, and this will only become more important in the future with government funding models and the likes. So industry engagement is important regardless of your intended career path. Researchers in universities are now required to have the skills to engage with industry and have this experience and connections. As per the quote from Australian Council of Learned Academics, that's on the slide right here, researchers are now required to engage with industry and end users and have enterprise innovation skills. In the last decade, several reports have been published showing that Australia is ranked at the bottom of university industry collaboration and that the input doesn't match the output of other nations. So this has led to university industry collaboration becoming a key policy focus from the Australian government and universities in order to improve this area. That means that there are incentives for researchers to engage with industry and also professional expectations to do so. It also means that if you have intentions in working in academia overseas, the professional expectation of academic industry collaborations is even greater. There is also the increasing competitiveness of grants, with more grants requiring industry partners and or being able to show that real world impact, i.e. how your research will translate to end users. So being equipped with the skills and experience to undertake industry collaborative research will both bring in industry funds to support researchers, i.e. external income, but it will also set you up to increase your competitiveness with grant applications and especially for grants with incentives for collaborative research. But this takes networks and a broad range of skills and capabilities to be able to do this. This is why our program is tailored with different types of experiences aligned to different areas of development to prepare you for your future career. Beyond the professional expectations of academics to engage with industry, the other reason to consider industry engagement now is that most HDR graduates end up in industry. Less than 50% of PhD graduates have careers in academia, and this includes sessionals. And approximately 3% of HDR graduates in some disciplines will get to the professional level. But with the increasing focus on innovation and development in industry, your advanced skills are needed. So many of these reports talk about the needs of the future workforce and the skill shortage around transferable and research skills. These are things that HDR students have in abundance and are needed in industry. We encourage you to see yourself as a well-rounded researcher as a result of your degree. This quote on screen from Akala report shows that you should be open-minded about your future career and rather than seeing your thesis as the end result of your research. So undertaking industry engagement activities now will set you up for future career success, whether you go on to gain employment in academia or industry after your graduation. Now I'll look to explain the internship details in a bit more well-rounded information so that you're aware. As I mentioned earlier, typically an internship is 3 months in duration, but can be up to 1 to 6 months depending on the project and with special approval. This often depends on the internship model. Industry funds the internship and students receive a $3,000 per month stipend, which is paid in fortnightly installments. An internship is a project that's developed between an academic mentor, a student, and industry, which is separate to, but may inform your thesis research. The learning outcomes are based on the student's identified transferable skill and experience needs. This is utilizing the skills assessment tool that we have available within GRED, which I'll talk about a bit later on. The projects are separate to the thesis research with the student IP protected. The IP from the project itself, as mentioned earlier, is owned by the industry partner, and that's because they're funding the internship experience. So with that being said, these are the parameters, but what it actually can be is quite broad, and I've got 2 examples for you. With this one, we had a student who was doing a market research in a mining scale-up, but the student was a chemical engineering Master of Philosophy student. They'd mentioned that the internship has equipped them with experiences and knowledge in the field of marketing research, which will greatly complement their core field as a chemical engineer. Market research experience will help them with their professional career goal in industry as a chemical engineer needs to create processes and products based on a market research outcome. So this just goes towards what I was saying before, where the internship experience is different to the research the student's currently doing, and it allows them to further expand on their current skill sets. The second example is a project which was called Archival Research for an NFP Arts Organisation, and this student was a fashion PhD. So they mentioned that they further developed their archival research skills and writing skills. They extended their professional experience in the cultural sector to include research, writing, publication. They also extended their network of contacts within the arts and cultural sector in Brisbane. So again, these experiences allow you to network and build on your network, your professional network, which will then aim to assist you post your graduation. So with our internship program, there's varying ways in which this can be advertised. Number one includes our QUT HDR internship model, which includes all HDR students, and these experiences are posted on our PARQ webpage. If you've registered for the industry engagement program, which I mentioned before, and you identified that you were interested in internships, you would also be contacted through a semi-regular mail out that we have that includes all the internship opportunities that we have listed on our website. The second includes an external provider called APR Intern, which I'll talk about a bit later. And the last is an external scheme or program. So the APR internships, they're a federally funded not-for-profit program. Unfortunately, they're only available to PhD students only. At least for now, that's the case. It might change down the line. And some projects are only limited to domestic students. And that's because some of the programs or the internship opportunities they have listed linked with the Defence Force, where you need a security clearance to partake in this experience. And that's why, unfortunately, international students won't be eligible for those. With the QUT, or with the internship experience, an academic mentor is required. This is because if you were to undertake an internship experience, you would be supported throughout the program by this academic mentor. The academic mentor does not have to be your supervisor, but they have to have expertise in the project content. The academic mentor is often the person who has sourced the internship, and they will assist with developing and vetting the project for suitability. The academic mentor receives research funds for their involvement, and both the research funds and your stipend are recorded as external income on the academics RAD profile. So it's really important that we mention about this academic mentor, because you have the expertise of this academic mentor to help you succeed in this internship experience. So you're not left high and dry. You do have the support of this mentor. One way that you can undertake an internship is by self-sourcing. So to self-source, it can be a standalone project you have secured through a mentor or an industry contact, or a project you have secured as part of a larger grant or research collaboration. We recommend building and utilizing your network to develop an internship opportunity that is a right fit for you. Internship sourcing is a great example of why building your network during candidature is so important. I just wanted to mention that students have already created their own internships, via their own supervisors, mentors through our IMNIS program, through meeting contacts at conferences, and the 3-minute thesis program that we also facilitate. So self-sourcing internship, the online program, this is available through Blackboard, and it walks you through the steps to self-source an internship. It explains what to do, what not to do, and it helps you kind of work out how the next best steps to self-source this opportunity for yourself. It includes resources to approach the industry partner, which includes a template email, the agreement template, the industry partner information, and there's other information available on HiQ. I just wanted to stress that self-sourcing an internship isn't as easy as simply reaching out to an industry partner that you might know and asking for an internship. It's best to facilitate that relationship and foster that as you go. Identify where there might be room for improvement with this industry partner, and approach it from that regard, so it's better received by the industry partner. With the self-sourcing HDR internship, we also facilitate workshops to help you be better equipped to reach out to these industry partners or prospective industry partners. My colleague Susan should put a link in the chat, which will help you identify the next sessions that we'll be running. At the moment, there are no sessions currently on that website, but our next session is scheduled for the 23rd of March. between 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. So if you'd like to attend, I would recommend referring to the website in the chat, and this will be live before the end of the year. All right, so a few things to note are with the internship, there are some required tasks that you need to complete in order to go on this internship. These are all outlined on HiQ, and will advise you of any required tasks if you've been successful in obtaining an internship experience. So there's an agreement that needs to be completed, and more instructions are in the guide. If you're sourcing your own, it's good to bring myself or my colleague Susan in quite early so we can help you with that process, as we have template agreements available. Pre-internship activities are completed via the online module, which is through Blackboard. It includes setting your own learning goals. So the learning goals help you identify what you wish to achieve throughout the internship experience. Throughout the life cycle of the internship, there are weekly check-ins to your academic mentor via the online platform, which includes in-person meetings as required. With the internship, there is a mid-internship presentation, which includes yourself, your academic mentor, your industry supervisor, and either myself or Susan as the QUT HDR Partnerships Officer. This mid-internship presentation just helps you explain what you've done throughout the life cycle of the internship to date and how it aligns with your goals. It also gives you a chance to update of any challenges that you faced or how you've overcome them. It's just a really eye-opening experience. The final internship presentation is in the final week of your internship experience, which gives you a chance to go through everything that you've done in finer detail because you're nearing the end of the internship experience. And again, to align your initial goals with what your goals are now and how you've successfully achieved them. Lastly, there's an applied reflective task, which is online, and that's to complete the module after the internship is finished. Now the fun stuff, when can I participate in an internship experience? Realistically, you can participate in an internship experience at any time through your candidature, provided that you have completed stage 2 plus a minimum of 6 months of your degree or full-time equivalent. We recommend and encourage students to undertake an internship within the first 18 months, just so that you can begin engaging with industry from the early onset, because as I mentioned before, building that networks, getting that industry engagement collaboration under your belt from the early onset puts you in good stead post-graduation. But with that being said, you can complete your an internship experience at any point in your degree, in your thesis, sorry, provided that you're not under review. How do you apply for an advertised internship? So there's a wide range of sources, as I mentioned, but our internship opportunities that are available only to QUT students are listed on our HiQ website, which illustrates all the available internships, as you can see from the image on the screen. The opportunities are collected from a range of sources, which includes the QUT HDR Internship Program, the APR Internship Program, and any external sources that there might be. With the self-sourcing of an internship, these ones aren't advertised because you source that yourself. So you'll be the intern, provided the industry partner is fine with this, with the chosen academic mentor. We do have instructions available on our HiQ webpage about how to apply for an advertised position and why it's important, but I'll cover this on the next slide so that you're well versed with that. I did want to mention that internships are limited and quite competitive, so it's best to put your it's good to put your best foot forward with your application and making sure that it's a well-rounded application to make sure that you may be the successful intern. So this brings me to the nailing your internship application. It's important to stress that you read the online instructions carefully. So Susan's put in the chat just now a link to our website, which has a video and some instruction on how you can do this. It's always good to treat it like a job application and making sure you utilize the CV template that we provided and refer to all the instructions that we also have available on our website. We have a PDF guide and also a video that you can look through. it's important to pay attention to the details. Like, are you utilizing the right templates? So between the QUT HDR internship program, we have our own specific application form, whereas APR intern have their own application form. So it's really important that you use the correct one, depending on the internship experience that you're actually applying for. I also wanted to mention that some internships are time sensitive, and others are quite flexible. So typically speaking, our internship opportunities are advertised for a 2-week period, but this can change depending on the requirements of the industry partner. So I would recommend often referring to this, to our available internships website, just so that you're aware of any opportunities, or registering for our industry engagement program so that you receive our notifications about the internship experiences once they become available. The next part is the interviewing for an advertised internship. So once you've applied for an internship, provided that the industry partner has shortlisted you, this is where you would be. I wanted to mention how important it is to make sure that you do treat this like a job application, and you don't want to interview for this opportunity and act really casual, and there's poor body posture and your communication skills aren't refined. It's really important that you review all the materials that we have on our website to understand how you can interview for this internship and put your best foot forward. So just so that you're aware, once you've applied for an internship experience, the industry partner will reach out to you, provided that you've been shortlisted, and look to set up an online Zoom or a Teams meeting with you to go through your skill set and how it aligns with the internship. The interview formats will vary depending on the industry, so it's important that you're flexible and can adapt to whatever they require. There is some training available that we provide, and that's just the how to be more competitive in the job market interview strategies. This is a workshop at the minute that's only held in February, but we're looking to revisit this in 2022. Plus, there's some additional resources which are available on our Blackboard platform. So where to from here? Help us help you by submitting your EOI, which helps us keep track of who is interested in internships in the future and prepare accordingly. We also use this to identify what students are qualified for what when talking to external parties. Oh, sorry. Also chat with your supervisor, because they would be in good stead to assist you with the internship experience. They might have some networks, they might be able to set you up with a potential lead. So it's always good to have that discussion early on so that they're aware that you have plans to undertake an internship experience. We recommend participating in the training that we have available and attending as many workshops as you can, just so that you're well versed with what GRED can offer you to prepare you for your future career post your graduation. We also recommend taking the HDR skills assessment tool so you can identify your skills and how you can improve in that area. As mentioned, the registration form for our industry engagement program is quite important. So if you haven't already done so, I recommend completing this form just so that we know that you're interested, and we'll include you in any communications going forward. There's an option within this form that allows you to trigger an email to your supervisor. You don't have to, this is completely up to you, but as mentioned, it's good to engage them in that conversation from the early onset, just so that they're aware of your plans and your idea of wanting to do an internship throughout your candidature. So as mentioned, we'll keep you updated with the latest industry engagement specific information and internship opportunities. The EOI list is used by industry engagement staff across the university to help source internships for students. The other thing is that within GRED, we send a fortnightly HDR Matters newsletter to students. This newsletter includes the sessions that are run by my colleagues with regards to writing wellbeing lounges, the writing peer feedback sessions, some writing circles, but also it illustrates some key HDR internship opportunities that are currently open. So as you can see on the screen, there's a Genius Genomics internship experience, which is currently advertised. And as this is quite an important internship experience, that's why it's listed within this HDR Matters newsletter. So I would recommend, once you receive this notification, to make yourself privy to the information available, as it can prove beneficial for you in preparing your career post-graduation. Just as a note, with this email, you can forward your student emails to your primary email address if you don't really refer to your student emails. That's completely okay. So this concludes the HDR internships discussion. We would just like to grab some feedback from you on the benefits of this session, where we can improve. The session is the session is anonymous, so please don't be afraid of being as critical as you'd like. My colleague Susan will put the link in the chat just so that you can access this survey. Don't feel obliged by any means, but it just allows us to refine this workshop. So going forward, it assists students more concisely. So now I open the floor to all of you. Do you have any questions about the HDR internships program? Is there anything else that I could assist with? Feel free to ask in the chat box or unmute. That's completely okay.
Well, actually, I got a quick question.
Yep.
To be honest, Susan already answered sort of, but I'm a first-year PhD student, but I have secured an external funding from the industry apart from my PhD, but it might be a part of my PhD because I'm doing thesis my publication also. My question is, I should be finalize the report of the first part of this external funded project by 8th of November, and I am planning to apply an industry internship after this time, because I think it will be more beneficial for me and it will increase my chance to find a place. I intend to do the self-organized internship, but I just want to double check, because the websites that you share says QUT prefers the internship within 18 months from the start date, but it will be after 18 months for me. So I just want to double check, because Susan said it doesn't affect the outcome because industry partners are the decision makers, but I just want to check what happens if there will be any conflict about the timeline between the QUT as a stake part or my supervisor and to the external funders.
No, so that's completely okay. So we recommend that students or HDRs undertake an internship within the first 18 months, just so that they can begin engaging with industry from the early onset. If you were to apply for an internship experience post this, that's completely fine. As Susan mentioned, it's ultimately up to the industry partner to go through the shortlisted or go through the applicants and shortlist who they see is the better fit. So they won't know if you're within the first 18 months or not. They'll just see an applicant that's come through from a QUT student and shortlist from there based on the skills that you've illustrated on the application form. So that's not an issue at all.
All right, thank you so much. I got a very quick question about the workshop also, because it's a little bit personal. I usually miss those kind of stuffs. It's really my way. I'm quite unorganized person, unfortunately. So will we have any priority to join that workshop since we joined this section, or are we going to receive an email? Because there is no planned event at the moment, and in the checks box, Susan indicated that. And thank you, Susan, by the way, for your time. We should be able to register ourselves in the mid of January. So how it's gonna work to register ourselves to the workshop?
So anyone's welcome to join the workshops. At the moment, there's no planned workshops just because we finalized our 2022 program. So within the next couple of weeks, these workshops will be added to the website and you'll be able to register from there. So I hope that helps. We can look to send you an email once these workshops have been updated in the UniHub, and which will allow you to register accordingly. I can definitely take a note and let you know once that's available.
It will be great if you can do that.
Yep,
It will
for
be
sure.
many appreciated. Thank you so much for your
No
time.
worry at all. So the question from, apologies. Yes, so sorry, as Susan mentioned, HDR, us as the HDR partnerships officers just need to be involved, because if it's an internship experience, even if it's being self-sourced, we need to be advised of this so we can get the agreements in place, just so that whilst you're under this internship experience, we can make sure all the processes and procedures are followed so that there's no interruptions to your candidature, and so that you receive the funding which is provided throughout the life cycle of the internship experience. So we just want to make sure that there's no disruption to your candidature. It's just so that we can provide that level of assistance that we normally would if we were sourcing the internship for you and advertising it for you to apply to. You're very welcome. Does anyone else have any questions? Yes, very good point by Susan. So whilst you self-source and we organise the paperwork, you'll be covered by QUT insurance. Okay, if we don't have any further questions, I might look to wrap up the session, but if you do have any other questions which you'd prefer to send through and we can discuss over email, by all means, please contact myself or Susan at hdr.intern@qut.edu.au. We're always happy to assist, so please reach out if you need us. Thank you for joining in. Thanks, Cynthia.